Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Crypto Crow. I'm going to try and keep this video short, trying to start a new system of shorter videos. So I'm going to not ramble so much, save all that stuff for lives. Anyway, I wanted to touch base real quick on this article I thought was kind of important. 84,000 Bitcoin options to expire on June 26th. According to the analytics provider Skew, the volume of traded Bitcoin put options has surged much more than calls have. Also, 84,000 Bitcoin options will expire on June 26th. So basically towards the end of this month, expect to see some pretty heavy price movement one way or the other in Bitcoin, because that's likely going to stir some things up. Now, I also want to address something. Recently, my last video that I did was about a project that I absolutely love called uTrust. This video has apparently increased uTrust's market cap by over $11 million in a matter of days. I published, if you look at this here, basically on June 4th, when I published this video, there wasn't much activity at all in uTrust's price action. I put out the video and it starts to just go crazy. Okay. Now, while I believe that uTrust does deserve this momentum and this FOMO, I guess you can say, if you will, I also want to make this point. I'm just a guy on YouTube. I am not a guru. I am not I'm not anything special. I have my own opinions online. And anytime you watch my videos where I talk about projects that I absolutely love, and it doesn't matter if everyone else in the world loves it or not, sentiment does play a very big role in cryptocurrencies. There's no question about that. However, I want you to watch all of my videos assuming I am wrong. And when you watch any video from any YouTuber out there, I want you to watch us all assuming we are wrong. Don't just buy into something because we like it. We could be wrong. Your goal when you watch people like me and others on YouTube is to take what we use to educate you with and try to prove us wrong in your own research. And then, only then, should anybody be making investment decisions on any particular project. You have to invest responsibly. Some YouTubers like to pump coins that they're being paid to pump and won't tell you that that's the case. I've had a lot of people ask if my uTrust video was any kind of paid advertisement. It in fact was not. uTrust has not paid me a dime for that video. I have barely even talked to anybody at uTrust for probably over a year. But the fact remains, you need to be careful. This pump, while insane, and while I'm proud of having that kind of voice in the crypto space because it's a voice that I do take very seriously, I don't want anybody to get wrecked if I should happen to be wrong. I want everybody to make decisions based solely on what you do. Use what we provide as a tool to learn more and maintain and better your education on the crypto space. Now, I recently bought over 214,000 of a particular cryptocurrency. And it's one that I actually got a couple years ago. I bought some and haven't really paid it all that much attention. And lately, I've been noticing some trends with this project, and a lot of trends that I feel are probably really established. I mean, there are a lot of things about this project that are really establishing some fundamental layers that I think are going to prove extremely fruitful as we move forward into the bull market. It's obvious right now that the altcoin market has been showing a lot of signs of gain, potential, momentum. Bitcoin's pretty strong. A lot of question as to whether or not it's going to break above 10,500 or go down to maybe somewhere around 8,800. Nobody knows. Trading this sideways market in Bitcoin has been proving frustrating for a lot of people, so it appears that a lot of people are putting their money into altcoin projects they believe are likely going to rise in value sooner than we get an answer as to what's going to happen with the Bitcoin price. So as we move forward into this market, my goal is hopefully to just educate people on the things that I'm discovering, the things that I'm growing more and more bullish on based off of their progress throughout the bear market and which projects I have faith in to outperform many of the others as we move further into the bull market. This project is Zilliqa. Now, I know that there have been a lot of people talking about Zilliqa recently, and I've been kind of watching Zilliqa for a while now because it has been making new headlines. It has been establishing new strong partnerships. And a lot of the partnerships, here's the thing. For me, Ethereum is generation 2.0 cryptocurrency with a lot of holes, with a lot of issues. And I see a lot of people talking about how DeFi is now going to replace ICOs, as they were, on the Ethereum blockchain. When CryptoKitties basically shut down the Ethereum network because Ethereum's network was not capable of scaling to the magnitudes necessary to maintain strong throughput for that dApp and many others like it, Ethereum kind of created a lot of red flags for themselves, established a lot of new questions as to how far can Ethereum grow with all these issues. And now they're trying to remedy these issues with Ethereum 2.0, making the network stakeable, doing all kinds of things. But there's a lot of consensus to the idea that Ethereum could effectively be chopping off its own legs with this Ethereum 2.0 upgrade if it doesn't perform well or as expected. It's considered to be very, very risky, and we are still nowhere near having any concrete answers as to the performance of the network post Ethereum 2.0 and how long it will take for the adoption of Ethereum 2.0. So all of the investments that I've made over the past couple of years have ultimately been kind of against Ethereum's value in the sense that I've used Ethereum as my base token of entry, not Bitcoin. And that a lot of the investments that I've made in the cryptocurrency market are assuming that their value will rise potentially higher than Ethereum will within the same time frame by the peak of the next bull market. Zilliqa is one that is ultimately looking to establish itself as a strong competitor against Ethereum because of sharding, which we've all seen a million things about. I'm not going to go into great detail on any of these little, fundamental outliers that, that'll help you. But I want you to look up a lot of this stuff and kind of learn about a lot more of this on your own. Overall, though, its original all-time high was 23 cents. This was before Zilliqa had a mainnet. This was before pretty much anything significant was going on with the project. And when I think about a lot of these dApps, and I think about DeFi being like the big savior for Ethereum, I look at DApp Radar and I'm looking, these are Ethereum DeFi applications currently running. MakerDAO is currently showing with only 140 users, with $524,000 in volume. It's very volatile, but there's really not that much going on. If you look at the highest user dApps on Ethereum, well, this one's an ad. So the highest one is 1 inch. I've never even heard of this. There are 275 users. Synthetics, 230 users. Down with no volume. I mean, a lot of these applications on the Ethereum blockchain in terms of DeFi are, to me, appearing to be fairly lackluster. And so when we're looking at Ethereum as being this, or we're looking at DeFi applications as being the big Ethereum savior, but we're not even really seeing a lot of volume or a lot of activity or user interest, I have to wonder, is that how much of this is smoke and mirrors? We've seen so many hacks that have happened on the Ethereum network through these DeFi applications. And of course, some people are blaming the smart contract coding of some of these DeFi applications as the culprit for why they've been vulnerable. I think ultimately Zilliqa is establishing a very strong fundamental foundation for being competitive with Ethereum long-term. Short-term, Ethereum is going to do well, but there are also a lot of competitive projects that are really eyeballing Ethereum's weaknesses and looking to take it out. Cardano's being one major one. Zilliqa obviously being another. And there are multiples that I'll talk about over the course of the future. What are some of the things that are interesting? Obviously, XFER's Singapore stablecoin is going to be a really big deal. You've got, where is it here? There was a bunch of stuff that I had open and now it's not. ZilPay. basically creating a MetaMask type application for the Zilliqa blockchain. Not a lot of adoption. It seems to be very new, not even really in a full version yet. And there's really no support for ZilPay on Twitter. Let's be frank. This hasn't grown. This hasn't done anything. This isn't a big deal yet. But a lot of people also still don't really know. This announcement was on June 2nd, blown over and overlooked by a lot of people because a lot of people aren't paying attention to some of the finer details that are going on with a lot of these projects. So, overall, when I look at Zilliqa and I look at its original all-time high of 23 cents, and I see the fact that we're at 2 cents now, it's been establishing a really strong wave. This is May 25th, but, 0.007 cents on May 12th, and we've continued to grow from there. I'm believing, in my opinion, that it's establishing a long-term trend, that it's likely going to blow this 2 cents out of the water. And the fact of the matter is while I love Cardano, and I would love to tell everybody, I'm only die-hard Cardano, and I'm only putting money into Cardano. The fact of the matter is that at 2 cents, I can buy like 4 of these for the same price I can get Cardano. And while I expect Cardano to do significantly better, honestly, let's be real, I expect Cardano to really clean house in the altcoin market once its mainnet launches and hopefully, fingers crossed, ends up on CoinBase in the next few months. But ultimately, Zilliqa, I think, is going to be a strong contender because they're focused on a lot of other things. And this is the one thing that I want to make sure people understand. Every one of these blockchains are establishing their fundamentals and their use cases in different vectors. So while one blockchain may be extremely successful here, another blockchain may be extremely successful elsewhere. And while they're similar type projects, it doesn't mean that they can't grow together. So it's a matter of picking whatever horse you want, picking multiple horses by diversifying your portfolio without getting too crazy, but keeping a strong portfolio of growth based off of the fundamentals and the news releases and what's going on with the project. Zilliqa's obviously been a project that's been staying active throughout the bear market, which has been one of my big things, my big issues. When I look at a project, I want to make sure that that project has been performing well and continuing to build new partnerships, has been continuing to improve itself and its use case. So I think ultimately, without getting too deep, because we're already 13 minutes into this, this stable coin, this Singapore stable coin for Xverse, there's some numbers here. Xverse has over 1 million users across Singapore and Indonesia. Clients include Tunakita, Hulo, PayFaz, and Binance Singapore. Xverse has processed over $260 million across Singapore and Indonesia in 2018 alone. So, and we don't even have 2019 numbers, and we're still in 2020. So, overall, I think Zilliqa is likely going to end up becoming quite a contender in the altcoin market as we move forward into the bull market. And at 2 cents, to me, it's a no-brainer, even if it's nothing more than an experiment to see how well some of these projects that are eyeballing Ethereum stand to do in this next bull market. I believe it's one that's likely going to see a lot of pumps. I think it's going to see a lot of growth. And ultimately, I'm pretty excited about it moving forward. And that's really all I have to say. I mean, this isn't about a deep dive. I'm just kind of letting you know this is something that I bought recently that I believe is going to perform pretty well as we move forward into the new bull market. And that's it. Let me know. Or am I wrong? Do you agree? Do you think this is going to take a dive? Do you think this is going to continue pumping over the next year, 2 years? Is this a short-term hold or a long-term hold? To me, which I know is going to be a question asked by many, is this a short-term or long-term? I believe that especially when it comes to these blockchains that are competing with other previously well-established blockchains, and they're trying to establish themselves based on filling the gaps and the holes of those that came before them, not even trying to be a rapper here, it's just kind of happening. I believe that these are likely long-term holds. And when I say long-term, I'm saying to the peak of the next bull market, whenever that may be. So that when we get closer to that time, that will be a decision for us to make as we move further in. Do we want to continue holding? Do we want to hold 4 years, 5 years? Are we putting money away for, retirement? Whatever the case may be. So yes, I believe that everything is more of a long-term hold. And I'm thinking, a lot of the projects that I'm looking into, I'm looking at them as a 1 to 2 year hold based off of when I expect the peak of the next bull market to show itself. So until next time, guys, thanks for joining me. I'll see you again real soon. Crow your coins, and I'll see you then.